a little bit difficult sometimes because there's a lot of like things Michael can do, all right? But for today, we're gonna assume he's doing a good job leaving his legs really far away from me, okay? So, because if he steps in too close, we're gonna be playing these scenarios instead, shin to shin, going into one leg X, okay? So, legs very far away, and he's leading with his arms, okay? So, just a couple of basic hand fighting tactics, right? We're gonna use a collar tie to mess with his head so that he grabs our wrist, right? So this is really what we want to build up to, that reflex of he grabs my wrist, I go with a C grip right as close as possible to his, then I pull my elbow away, then I get a 2-on-1 control, right? So this is the grip we want to squeeze as hard as we can because we only got one attempt at coming into him from this grip, right? So there's so many leg scenarios that we can go for. It really depends on your style. So I could potentially keep my legs to the inside and just pull him over me so I can get underneath and get into his legs, right? So that won't be one variation. You could play any outside guards, right? So I can place my foot in his hips instead. This is great for the kids, right? So a lot of times you can go foot on the hip and then go into your traditional like hook sweep, all right? Or you can do a bit more fancier guards as well, like K guards and other leg entries, right? So this would be more for the advanced nogi guys. You can bring your knee in and then start going for underhooks instead. So you can invert and go inside for more heel hook attacks, right? So try to practice those 3 variations. Your partner's gonna be moving around a little bit, really low. You like hand fighting, get the grips, and then start coming into one of those 3 guards from there, all right? Let's go. Make some mistake, okay? So sometimes another way to do it, if you can't get this grip sorted, I often offer them my wrist, and some people will just grab your wrist naturally and then you can try to strip it off. You can do it also when he grabs your head. A lot of people like messing with your head, like pulling and pushing like this. So if you're quite quick at reacting to that, so I am like posturing up so I can grab the grip and go like this, right? Once that wrist is bent on my head and curled in, it's a lot harder for me to clear this. So he grabs my head, I'm like that straight away, then I got my 2-on-1, right? So again, for the kids, the one I'd recommend the most is that hook sweep. So foot on the hip, you get up here and you try to do that hook sweep like this, right? Now, I'm gonna try to give the kids this leg work, all right? But adults feel free to use as well. It is really difficult and a little bit of a mind bending, but I'm gonna start with my hook sweep, right? And one of the most common hook sweep counters is for him to raise this leg up and then kick back to clear the grip, right? So we wanna be efficient with our legs and switch sides really quickly, right? So we did start with this. As I go for the sweep and he clears it, I'm passing the grip over and then trying to swing myself to the other side, right? So we end up with like a reverse hook leg positioning, which I'm gonna quickly switch my hips, place a foot on his hip, and then try to bring this leg down so I can hit him with the tomahawk sweep, or some people call it the sickle sweep as well, right? So it's a bit of a leg drill, but it really works on your like dexterity of your legs and how to use your hooks efficiently. So it's a great drill, right? So again, I start here, I go for my hook sweep, he clears it and swing, and I go for my sickle sweep by just switching the legs. Once you get to this, then you can switch sides, okay? This is the hardest part about the drill. So I'm gonna go for the sickle sweep, and now he's gonna step back. And now I go back to my hook sweep, he clears that, I swing, I try to go for my sickle sweep, he steps back, I switch, and I go for my hook sweep, right? And eventually, if you build that up, one of them will hit, or if you can't hit it, we usually go up into one leg exits, right? Good luck, let's go. That a really high percentage, okay? It's more like for you to develop the hooks and kind of work on your legs. It will work on some people. Again, a lot of these kind of, especially the hook sweep, are like sudden, fast movements, okay? So it's quite a hard sweep to do slow. People react to it very kind of like well, but the faster you do it, the more efficient it is. It's like a little push and pull at the same time, and your partner might not expect it, okay? But again, it all started from that 2-on-1 drill what we had here. and I'm pulling it, right? No. So like I mentioned, if you're efficient with your leg work and being able to switch sides, you will learn your legs will just build up dexterity over time, right? The hooks will become a lot easier. You'll be able to swivel in and out a lot easier as well. So that's why, again, we're focusing on this drill today, right? Now, like I mentioned, most people, when we're going to one leg X, right? So let's say I try to sweep and I want to now go to one leg X. There's a couple of ways we can get there. So most people, you'd use the hook, you'd slide in, and you throw your leg over for a good pinch, okay? So that's the most common way people tend to do it. There is a system where we just get our knee underneath instead, right? So that's the one we're gonna work on today, where instead of trying to let go and kick through, I'm just gonna use the hooks to kind of lift him and then put my knee underneath, right? So you can see how I just swiveled. I use the hooks to slightly lift him, so I can slide my knee underneath. Now we're in what we call a butterfly X scenario, right? And then from here, again, we're gonna work on those hooks a little bit more. So I'm gonna get efficient at extending the hook and pulling, all right? So there's a lot to do with your legs here. With this hook, I'm generally trying to lift him, right? So it's up, straight up. This one is the one that moves him closer and further away from me. So it's really important to know that, because a lot of times we just use both our legs to stretch and the guy isn't moving at all. So again, I'm trying to lift with that hook so I can pull him or extend him or lift him, so I can grab the ankles and I can elbow him forward and backwards until I can get something in there, all right? So that's our full drill now. Your partner comes in, I clear it, I go for my hook sweep, but it doesn't work. So again, get your hips right under. Remember to use your feet like a little hook. And if you want to over-exaggerate it, do it, right? Try to lift your partner up just so you can get that knee underneath a little bit easier. And then from here, work on your hooks, pulling, pushing, trying to grab that ankle so we can go for that sweep and come up on top, okay? Let's go. Up on the techniques tomorrow, so try to do your best to remember them, right? But again, just to give you a glimpse of, there's so much we can do from those scenarios, right? We could take a beginner technique, which is a hook sweep, developing it into a more advanced kind of like entry for us to go to attacks, either the legs, what we're going to reaps. We can get a little bit more creative if we develop our hooks. Again, the hooks is what the priority here, because later on we'll be able to use these hooks so efficient to lead into things like back takes, where we're pulling in and extending and taking the back from there, right? And you strengthen up your core. Every time we're playing guard, we're up like this, and your core is gonna get stronger. You'll be able to invert a lot more and get underneath the legs, right? So that's eventually what you wanna build up to. But at the beginning, it is difficult, especially if you don't have the dexterity of the hooks yet, all right? But over the span of like 3 months, just attempting it, it just develops and gets better, all right? That's it for me today. Danny is gonna take over now, all right? What we're gonna do, right? So these are like styles of back takes. So we're gonna take that first drill from yesterday where I get to here and we try our hook sweep, but my partner's being quite sturdy. I can't sweep him, so we're just gonna pull ourselves underneath and try to get our knee behind, okay? So we end up in this kind of like X guard situation. Usually people play X with this hook over here, right? And it allows us to push and pull, like I mentioned yesterday, but you can also play on this side, which gives you a slight more lift on the leg, right? So today we're really focusing on getting this foot up here. If you're drilling and your partner's staying straight up, right? So stand up, nice too. You won't be able to play the hook, okay? So you need your partner to be crouched down slightly. So usually if the person's straight up like this, you just go to your regular X and you just move him about, and then you adjust it to place it on his rib cage. Again, the rib cage is where we want it the most, right? Because I can push him now, you see? And I can get underneath him a lot more, right? So again, the whole thing is just to get this leg light so we can lift and then just grab a 2-on-1 grip on this foot, all right? So again, from here, there's loads of techniques, but we're gonna start off in level 1, easy mode. So we're gonna lift and just pass it over to the other side. We need to keep our hooks sticky though, right? So these hooks here, they're gonna be very sticky. This one's gonna go back to the X, the other one's gonna come over just behind his knee, right? So I've got these 2 hooks kind of really sticky in the position. Then I'm gonna build up to his hips, right? So I'm just gonna pull on one side of the hip, and then the other one I'm just gonna start to extend. I'm just trying to swallow his hip into my, in between my legs, right? And then start getting the back. So again, start the drill from the beginning because it's important for you to get that initial contact. So you can go for your sweep. Doesn't work, so I slide in, right? If you have strong grips like most of you do, you should be able to keep this, which makes your life a lot easier. Lift, push, and then I'm just going for that sticky 2-on-1. So I'm grabbing on his toes, okay? It's really important. Don't try to like go underhook like this. This is very slippery. So grip right on the foot, right? And then turn it over, pass. If you like double hips, go for double hips. There's a long system here that you eventually need to learn as well. Usually what will happen is you pull the guy out, but your partner will try to hide his back, either falling sideways, and you're gonna have to learn some inversions from here in the future. But for now, you'll just be able to slide the guy over us and take the back. Okay, let's go. Oh, we managed to stabilize the guard. So now, again, that could be like your go-to move. There's lots of techniques, like I mentioned, that we can go for, right? But again, everybody, rib cage was fine. So as long as you had that foot in there, pulling it in, it should be nice and easy for you to settle your attacks, okay? Again, there's a lot of techniques. This is where the famous Aoki lock comes from. For today, we're just focusing on those back scenarios, right? But like I mentioned, we're gonna go back a second again, where we go for a hook sweep and the person steps back, okay? So he clears that leg. So when we end up on the other side, our legs are a little bit in a different orientation. So we end up kind of like having to go backwards and forwards if you want to go on our X, and if we shoot for our X, we're a little bit too far, you see, from that position. So this is where I usually like playing some sort of underhook variation of the leg, right? So from here we had an ankle grip. All I'm going to do is switch to this variation instead, and the other hand I'm going to try to hold the back of his knee somewhere, right? So we end up in this literally like situation. But it's easy for him to slip, so we're gonna have to be quite quick with this, right? So I am gonna throw my shallow hook in now, so that leg is gonna come in. I'm not throwing my whole leg over, right? I just want my leg in this angle like this, behind his knee, right? There is a time for us to go for this as well, right? Is when our partner's turned away from us. We're not gonna be doing if he's straight up like this. The angle isn't right? We're far better off going into our X's from there. But a lot of times when you're doing these kind of situations, your partner will try to clear your legs by changing the angle slightly, and you'll lead his knee to going in that direction a little bit more, right? So if you have to, just push your partner, because some people stay too straight. So just pull the back of the knee and just go in this position to make it a little bit more smoother, right? Then my shallow hook's gonna come in. So I'm just in this like situation. From here, I'm just flaring my knee, okay? So I'm just opening everything over to the other side like this. I'm staying with these two hooks, right? But eventually one is gonna go, so we can take the back, and then we end up in that same scenario as before. You might have to climb up sometimes on the person, so you might have to wrestle up to take the back. Sometimes you'll be able to slide and just throw the hooks in, but you take whatever your partner gives you. So again, start off with our hook sweep. My partner steps back, okay? Straight away, I'm just switching. If you want a pit stop here, pit stop. If you don't, just go straight for the hook instead. And remember, pull that knee, throw that shallow hook. If you're good with your hooks, you can do like the scissor actions like this to get his base off, and then just let it slide off, right? So you can end up with those two hooks and then going in. All right, let's go. The same thing, okay? When people are passing your guard and getting sideways on with leading with that leg, you're gonna see this a lot where we come in and go into that position, right? So it's just gonna be a staple if you play a lot of guard and develop your hooks. But although it looks very pretty, all right? So I did that little segment there where we get underneath and we get all the hooks in, and we take the back like this, where we like go here and then we pull the person and extend. It's usually not the case, okay? Usually people are gonna roll, you're gonna have to wrestle up. So the more realistic scenarios are these, okay, the first one would be something where we get the entry. Again, this is best case scenario would be the back take, but we're assuming my partner is gonna try to run away or do something like that. Okay, so the first one is you get his hands to the floor and we end up in this position. If we can quickly pull ourselves up, we might be able to roll through and take the back, okay? So again, he wants to hide his back. So if I can quickly, before Vasi goes, I'll come back a little bit, just stay on your hands. If I can quickly slide up, build up over him, and then jump over while he's pulling the guard, I'll probably be able to take the back, okay? But again, you have to be like 3 steps ahead of the partner. Otherwise, this is what's gonna usually happen, right? Where we go like this, I try to pull him, he just ends up rolling like that, right? So focus on getting up first, then jumping over the top, right? So that's probably the most beneficial drill, but the most fun one is the calf slicer, right? So that's the one that most people look. I try to worry more about the hips, because it's like, at least if they scramble, I can end up on top. So even if I don't take the back, at least I have the hips kind of glued in. Yeah, exactly, like a typical back take, right? I'll show you one more time just because I did do it a bit fast, but we end up here. I just care about the hips. So sometimes I won't get to the back, I'm tired or something, right? But at least I have his hips, so when he rolls, I might end up here instead, maybe in a leg drag, and maybe I can salvage out a back take. But if it's got more energy, got more kind of thing to go, I'll jump over and then try to run over to beat the speed, right? I reckon that's enough. I won't show the calf slicer now, but let's just try that one first, okay? Let's go. Develop them, okay? Especially if you don't put yourself there. And it's a lot to do with it is your partner on top, all right? So if you have a good drilling partner who's giving you movements without trying to squash you all the time, then you get to practice this drill very efficiently, okay? If you have a partner who's just trying to smash your legs going side to side like this, it's very difficult because you panic, all right? But you have someone who flows with you and you're just moving from side to side, trying to hook and just trying to find those angles while you're getting in, and he's following you, and kind of you're getting into the drill. The back takes becomes a lot smoother for you to end up you know, developing your guard and hook. So a lot of times when you have a partner who's equally your level, you can just drill like that, where you're both flowing and moving, and your guard is just developing more and more, okay? So keep that in mind if you want to develop the guard, all right? So we're gonna move on to sparring now. We're gonna do probably like 4-minute rounds, all right? So let's go.